hallo, assalamu alaikum, good morning, khushamdi, ji ayanu, goeiemorgen.
Bekhairagale, ni hao, chune shumme, washmale, ohio gozaimes, guten morgen, hola, bonjour, previous, kaifahal, halishama chatore, alan wasalan marhaba, buna, and a very amazing good morning to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and watching World this morning, alongside the very amazing, the very talented Shiza Hashmi and Shazad Khan. Hello Shiza, how are you today?
I'm great, how are you?
I'm absolutely perfect, doing great. The energy is very intact, which I feel like disseminating to all of those amazing viewers who are out there as well. So ladies and gentlemen, it's time to rise and shine, wake and bake, get up and be ready. Yes. What about you? How do you feel today?
I feel great because I had my coffee in the morning. That's
Wow.
great. But other than that, I'm also sort of nervous because right after the show, I have a quiz in my class today, which is the worst. Oh my God.
See,
but anyway.
I have to babysit a lot of times, guys, so it's all right.
Yeah, anyway. But you know, there's one thing I need to mention before we move on to anything else. I think just before the show, Shazad and I were discussing as well. When we're reaching towards our workplace in the morning, it's usually school time for a lot of children. Yeah. And of course, the roads are loaded and everything. So what we were discussing was, you know, a lot of kids, especially it's very, you know, unhealthy or unsafe to drive past very fast, which a lot of guys like Shazad do. I'm pretty sure you do as well.
Not
okay, but that's
like
the
me.
message. Be careful.
Because I don't drive car in the morning, man. So you know, it's not on me.
Okay,
Yeah.
but that's the point. So be careful because if they're not your children, but they are children altogether,
Exactly.
they have to be safe. And also, if you're not being responsible, then who is? They are kids, but you are the responsible ones.
Exactly, that's what it is. But other than that, Shiza, there's one more thing which I've noticed whenever I've been on my way to work or anywhere else, and whenever there's school in between, you know. So what happens is that I've seen a lot of parents, what they do is just to save time, just because there's a signal, you know, a traffic light. So what they do is that they do not take a U-turn, come back to drop their kids by the side of the school. So what they do is that they stop at the opposite side. Then the parents keep on sitting in the car and just see their kids crossing the road. I mean, you know, there's no amount of time can be more precious than that particular kid's life. So please make sure that you do not put them in danger. You want them to be safe as well. And then other than that, we have been saying it all this time because the weather's changing from winter, whenever it's from summer to winter, you know, you really have to look after yourself, or from winter to summer, because flu gets you. There are flu shots available. Ask your doctor first and then go and get them done. That's what it is.
And also for these 2 days, NDMA has been giving out warnings for flood in some areas as well, and also flood in some areas as well, sorry for that. And, you know, a lot of rain in other areas, isolated places in Rawalpindi, upper parts of the country especially.
Yeah.
So, you know, be safe. And you know, look out for that. And if you are living in places where there are probably poor people or downtrodden segments of society living nearby, so you know, be careful for them as well and help them out if there's time of.
Oh, okay. I'm very sorry, Shiza, to ask you this, but you certainly gave it away yourself that you've got a quiz right after the show. So which subject?
Oh, it's research methodology.
Oh, but it was supposed to take place yesterday, no?
Oh, it didn't happen. I was
my
prepared
God.
yesterday. Okay, yes, and it didn't happen. So it's happening today, which is the worst. But the good thing is it's only going to be MCQs. So, you know, one of them is the right answer.
Yeah, one of them will be the right answer only if they, but you know, if they gave you 10 choices, I think it will be
dear
more
God.
difficult. But other than that, you know, there are always kids who actually remind teachers within the university that, oh, sir, you were supposed to take a quiz today.
Always.
And, you know, they were never my friends. I'm sorry to say that.
Same
because
here. And you know, the reason we have a quiz today is because of one of those kids. So the class yesterday went by clearly, and we were so happy the quiz is not happening. And this one class full of mine
They have
goes
to do
like,
it.
oh my God, ma'am or slash sir, you missed the quiz. And he was like, oh, you guys have to get together tomorrow so that we can take the quiz.
Oh, and you still didn't prepare.
I mean, I did. I am partially prepared, but of course I'm nervous because why
Okay,
not?
you don't have to be nervous. We wish you best of luck. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to come down to what we're talking about today.
Oh, yes. So what are we talking about
Okay,
today?
so recently we saw that, you know, there was a mini budget as well, and then within the mini budget we saw that people, you know, who buy expensive cars, probably from 1800cc and above, will be paying more taxes on their cars.
Okay.
But then, you know, as a matter of fact, we still know that everybody drives at least a 1800cc car in their household. But this is something which we are assuming right now. We do have an expert with us who's going to talk about it. Majority of the cars are actually imported from other countries, for example, from Japan. usually, or Germany, you know, if you're into Benz and BMW and all of these cars too as well. And then, you know, there are a few Thai models, there are a few models from England too as well. And since I'm a car enthusiast, so I was very keen to do a show on this as well, where people can actually tell us that how do you think that this market is going to benefit if we're going to apply more and more taxes.
Yeah.
So, you know, when we were discussing it backstage, the gentleman actually told me that, you know, for somebody who's actually paying 250 crore rupees anyways, why do you think that they will be reluctant to pay 270?
Exactly.
So it is a point, but then other than that, even people who are richer, you know, who belong to the privileged segment of the society, why do we even still have to rip them off? Why cannot we? Because the next segment of the show is actually about equality. We'll definitely indulge into that. So why is somebody paying more taxes? Why is somebody paying lower taxes? I just do not get it. But, you know, obviously to enjoy luxury in life, you have to pay
Comes
the
with a
extra
price.
cost.
Yeah.
So we'll discuss that, or probably, you know, in years to come, if we'll keep on importing, because our local industry, you know, what they do is that they import the parts, assemble them
Yeah.
over here, and then give us the car. So the choices over here
Most
within
of the time.
Pakistan are very minimum. In terms of small car, in terms of 600cc cars or 800cc cars or 1000cc car. So I think that all of these questions will be answered by our expert over here, because they are the biggest importers in Pakistan. Roughly 2,500 cars are being imported under the branch of their institute, which is with the name of MDK, or the organization. And a total of 4,000 cars are imported every year. So you can imagine that, you know, what kind of sales they're making. Deep pockets, obviously. So on my right-hand side, ladies and gentlemen, we have been joined by Sarim Sattar, and the best part is that he's even the Secretary General of SEEP, which is actually Car Exporters Association Pakistan.
Yeah.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Walaikum salam. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you very much for joining us. You know, I'm a car enthusiast myself, and prior to the show, me and Shiza, while we were discussing how to go about it, Shiza said, okay, so since you're a car enthusiast, you talk about cars, and in this next segment, I'll talk about peace and equality.
Yeah.
So let's get started. Let's start from the mini budget. How do you think it's going to have an impact on the life of normal people? Or is it even going to have an impact on people who drive a 1000cc car, 600cc car, 1600cc car?
Okay, Shahzad, the basic thing is that, first of all, the cars being imported in a year are almost 85,000 Japanese cars.
85,000?
Yeah.
Well, you told me four.
I think that
it
was
was
You're
monthly.
witness to
I
that.
It
think he
was
said
our
monthly.
company imports monthly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that is MDK.
Monthly? Wow.
So right now we are currently working on this thing to improve more and more cars, to bring more and more cars in Pakistan. You were talking about the mini budget. This mini budget was very positive for us.
Okay.
Because to support the Prime Minister's austerity campaign, because we need revenues, we need more and more taxes at this time. So to support our country, we are very positive about this thing. And it's not about the common man, it's about the a person buying 1800cc and above it. So, and one more thing is very important, that this 1800cc doesn't consist of the cars that are we usually facing, we are usually looking on the roads.
Because it's 17 something.
Yes, it's 1790cc and the duties don't apply on that one.
Okay.
So it's I guess the guy who is paying a 7 million or 8 million for a Prado Cruiser, he will obviously pay a 9 million as well. But this will definitely support our country.
Why do you think we have to pay an extra million for that?
Shahzad, currently our country is in a different way right now. We need taxes, we need revenues for them, and the people who can afford these vehicles, if they pay these taxes, definitely they will become a growing nation. So this is very important for us.
But that's great. So since you are the Secretary General of SEEP as well, which is the Cars Exporters Association Pakistan, and when you guys sat together, you know, the people or the members of the SEEP, what did you decide? Because you recently met a minister too as well, and you had quite a lot of proposals to give them to help the government. What were those proposals?
Actually, SEEP is the Car Exporter Association for Pakistan. Basically, SEEP bridges the gaps between you can say fill the gaps between government, exporters, importers, and consumers.
Okay.
We do listen to exporters, we do listen to consumers, we do listen to importers as well. Because as we are sitting in Japan as well, so the major export in Pakistan is from Japan.
Okay.
We do listen to all of these issues. We do listen to the government as well, that what they need right now. So it was very positive from the government that they have implied only 20% taxes. I guess this is still very good for us.
So, okay, so right before this when you were talking, so what I sort of gathered from that was that to tackle the economic crisis that is going on in the country, a part of that has to be dealt with the people who can actually afford luxury cars. That is what you're saying? That is why you're
Definitely.
importing such cars? Okay. So, but what happens to the local market then?
The local
Are
assemblers.
they in any loss? I mean, if you are bringing in such great items from abroad, what happens to the local market? I mean, is it going to affect them in any way, first of all?
First of all, the local manufacturer, I will call them assemblers because they assemble things.
Okay, okay.
It doesn't make any difference because the local assemblers are also importing everything from abroad.
Okay.
Let's take an example of a single battery in your car. If you are using a Toyota Corolla or a Honda Civic, the cell being used in the car is also being imported from China. So once again, you have to send money abroad. So it's one and the same thing. You import a Japanese car or you assemble a car.
No matter what happens, yeah.
No matter what happens, even the steel being used in the local assembled car is also being imported.
So
Unfortunately.
I think that, you know, a great advice for the people out there will be to buy the Japanese car. Why are we even buying locally assembled cars when we can actually get, you know, assembled cars from Japan, Germany, and elsewhere in the world too as well? But they are a little expensive. Are they a little expensive in comparison to the 1000cc, 1300cc, and 600cc cars available locally assembled in Pakistan?
Shazad, definitely, they are a bit expensive. You have to pay a price for them as well. But if you compare a model of 1000cc, let's take an example of 1000cc car, Suzuki Swift or Suzuki Cultus or anything, they are not below 1.5 million right now.
Yeah.
But we can give you a better option in 1.5 million. Plus, definitely, we should keep this in mind that they are much more safer. They are much more fuel efficient.
There are more airbags, they're automatic.
And I will love to draw your attention to one more thing that currently in Pakistan, as we have to decrease our imports. It's a very obvious thing. For any growing nation, you have to decrease your imports, increase your exports. But we cannot manufacture any car over here right now.
Right.
So what we can do is that the largest import in Pakistan is of oil.
Okay.
Right? It's last year I guess we did a 1 billion USD oil import. So this is the largest import of oil. So if we focus on bringing more and more hybrid and electric cars, this will definitely reduce our oil import bill.
Okay, you know, that makes sense. But since you're talking about a lot of pieces, even the people who assemble cars in Pakistan are not bringing pieces, you know, manufacturing them here. So is it because we lack the resources over here? Why is it that we have to import the pieces, even the parts of the cars? Also, if we do not have the resources to do that, do you think government can help the local manufacturers in any way in that?
Yeah, government can help them, but I think the local manufacturers and local assemblers should help us right now.
Okay.
They have a much better playground right in here to play with, and they can teach our youth. They can give training institutions, like they do have many like resources right now. I can say they can play their role right now, like it's time to give back to Pakistan.
So they do
you
have
can say.
resources, but they just have to put it to work.
Sorry?
They do have resources, but they just have to put it to work.
They do have.
in a
Look,
better
for example,
manner,
Toyota
probably.
Pakistan is directly connected with Toyota Japan.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
can bring a plant over here. They can manufacture the same thing over here right now.
Yeah.
So we should emphasize on this. They should emphasize on this, that they should be produced over here. Definitely, we love to see Pakistan growing.
Okay, but I have a different thing to ask, and that is that, you know, all around the world, when you go probably to USA, to England, or anywhere else, you know, the definition of a luxury car is different over there. So, for example, in England, a luxury car would be a Range Rover, a Bentley, and Lamborghini, or, you know, all of these cars. So over here, you sitting right in front of me telling me that, you know, a Toyota Prado is a luxury car is a conflict for me, because I don't think that Toyota Prado is, or probably a V8, you know, how people, because the perception over here is very different. So, and it definitely does not make me feel great paying another extra million over a car too as well. So what kind of solutions do we have for that? How do we curb that? Because people, you know, people who can actually afford to give out, you know, 2.5 crore rupees or 3 crore or 10 crore or 14 crore rupee car, that might certainly not be a problem for
People
them.
pay
But for
14
a
crores
person
for a car.
who's on television and works day and night, and who wants to drive a luxury car and has to pay a lot of duty other than that, which was certainly there before that too as well, I think it makes it difficult for me then.
Yeah, Shahzad, definitely.
Sorry for that.
Buying a car these days is every man's dream, you can
Yeah.
say. Everyone has a different definition of luxury for himself right now. We as a nation are facing Suzuki Mehran since 50 years,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So definitely luxury was an power steering.
Yeah.
Luxury was an airbag. Luxury was power windows.
Power windows, yeah,
So at
yeah.
least give us a credit
Or
that we brought.
retractable mirrors.
At least give us a credit that we brought such cars from Japan.
Yeah.
And definitely Toyota Prado and Toyota Cruiser is never a luxury vehicle,
Yeah.
but you can buy them in a price of a luxury. like 25 million rupees for a Land Cruiser, you can get a Mercedes as well.
Exactly.
But people in Pakistan have different priorities. They want to go off-roading, they want to drive it in city as well, they want to go to the villages as well.
Yeah.
In
What a one window solution.
yeah, one window solution. In rest of the world, people have multiple cars. They have a Mercedes at home, they have a Prado at home as well.
So then how do you think we're going to decrease the imports? Because, you know, we want to be in line with the austerity campaign. too.
Yeah, we are very positive towards the Prime Minister Imran Khan's austerity campaign, and we really want to support it. Once again, as I said before, the oil import is the biggest issue of Pakistan. If I don't know if you have been in a hybrid or electric vehicle, hybrid or electric vehicle is 100% more efficient, much more efficient than a conventional car. Unfortunately, our local assemblers cannot produce any hybrid car till now. So what our calculation is, what you can say our R&D is that if you spread hybrid and electric cars more and more on the roads of Pakistan, we'll definitely cut it half.
But there's only one charging station over there in Kosar. I'm sorry, Shiza, I
No
know that
problem.
you want to ask a question. But with one charging station within the entire city, how do you think that, you know, these cars will work?
These will definitely work. As the hybrid cars have their own charger in their own car,
Yeah.
so we do not need any charger for them.
So, I
And
mean, so cars are going to be just like telephones then?
yeah,
You know,
you
so
can say
put them
charging
charge
on
at night
mobility.
and- Wow, I think it's going to be great.
Love the idea of
Yeah.
it, absolutely.
The charging on mobility, you can say, and definitely, as I said, that we have to cut this oil import. Definitely, it's the biggest issue. And the rest part of the world, the people are, by 2025, many nations, many countries are cutting off the conventional cars.
Yes.
They are moving to completely hybrid or electric vehicles.
Even in England, they're making smart motorways now.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So we, as SEEP and MDK, we are trying our level best to bring these more and more hybrid and electric cars right
And
now.
the duty is lesser, right?
Yeah, we thanks to the government that the duties on hybrid and electric vehicles are much more lesser.
Wow,
Wow.
that's great.
Wow, that's
Shiza, you can move on now.
I think I have forgotten the question, but I'll go on anyway. So when you're saying that we need to, you know, take a control on the imports of oil that we're talking about, so when you are importing Japanese cars or other cars, so what we are expecting is that you're also taking care of the, you know, to probably control the air pollution or the environment pollution in the environment. Is that going to help in any way?
Definitely, Shiza. We are recently going to propose the government that on every imported Japanese car we'll plant 10 trees under the hood of
Okay.
Oh, wow.
government, inshallah.
Okay.
And I hope that this will go very positive, because a single car, the pollution that produces in its own life, we'll definitely plant 10 trees. It will definitely, you can say, balance the environment.
Okay.
Plus, the Japanese cars are much more pollution-free. You can say they produce very less emissions, carbon emissions, and the cars type I'm talking about is hybrid and electric. They do not consume fuel.
right.
Like a hybrid car gives you a 20 to 25 kilometers per liter on average, and a conventional car gives you 8 to 9 kilometers per liter. This clearly shows that
Okay.
it's a 100% reduction in,
Better option as well.
definitely 100% reduction in emissions.
But now I'm going to come down to a point which I think needs to be discussed on television. A lot of people suffer because of this problem. So obviously, you know, the image of a dealer is not like very upright. So everybody knows whether you're going to go buy a house or a plot or a car. You know, these three types of dealers you definitely want to save your skin from. Now this culture over here within the showroom marketplace, what happens is that, you know, if you're there to go buy a car, so what they do is if they're in contact with the owner, and whatever the owner is asking for, they'll probably add another lakh or 2 lakh to it, won't let the owner know, won't let you know. Take that money, rip you off, go back, take the commission from them, and take the commission from you. And by the end of the day, the car is costing you quite a lot. Do you think that SEEP is actually going to put in or probably step down on it as well to actually tell people that this is not the right thing to do, so that people even have confidence on all of these
Right.
importers or people who are actually working within the car market?
Shizad, SEEP and MDK have already got a toll-free number for rechecking the car. If you are going to buy any Japanese car, you can call us, you can email us, we can give you the verification of auction sheet.
Can you share the email and the phone number?
Yeah, definitely. It's 021 111 635 635.
021 111 635 635. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any inquiry about Japanese car, call on this number and you'll be a lucky one, because you're going to save a lot of money. So because you're going to save your skin from the dealers. I really do not like them at all. And you know, it's because of the past experiences. So what happened? I recently bought a car,
Okay.
and when I recently bought a car, so whatever amount I had to pay, I paid them. And the dealer told me that, oh, whenever we are going to sell it, you're going to earn profit on it. So now, after exactly a month, I wanted to test him because I never have trusted a dealer. So what happened was that he said, okay, you can park the car at my showroom and you're going to get the same price you bought the car for. Even though I was very thankful that I'm still getting the same price, but the way he gave me that car by saying that even if you're going to sell it after a year, it's going to save you money. And imagine just after a month, this is something which happened. So what do we do about these people? Because these people are the core of the dirty business.
Yeah, Shahzad, these people are not just in Pakistan.
Yeah.
You can say they are also present in different parts of the world. They are known as commission agents right now. So these agents do take their own money. They are after money, and it's not about just Pakistan. But again, once again, we are trying our best. We have already got a toll-free number. We have a website. We do get people directly to the better dealers. So we are trying our best to sort this issue out. And in very near future, we'll definitely look on this, that how can we get it more better.
Wow, that's just
Okay,
great.
that's
Thank you
great,
very much, Sarim, for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
And letting us know that, what's happening with the imported car market as well. And one last thing. Do you think that in the longer run, with the imports of the electric cars, it's going to have an impact on the local manufacturers or the assemblers? As you want to put
I
it?
don't think so. That's because there are some type of vehicles that we are not producing right now. We are not importing right now. That are like conventional cars like Corolla or Civic or the high-tech cars. Electric cars are different, totally different things.
Yeah.
So, but still, as I said, we really want to support the austerity campaign of Prime Minister Imran Khan.
Yeah.
So we do want to cut this oil import bill. We do want that on Pakistan road, we do see electric and hybrid vehicles as well.
Yeah, and one last thing before we wrap up, and I do not know how we're going to manage to do that too as well, because when we go around the world, ladies and gentlemen, when we travel, we see that, that the price we are paying for a Honda Civic or a Toyota Corolla over here in Pakistan, we can probably drive an E-Class over there, or probably an S-Class too as well, or a sports car. So do you think that in days to come, we'll be driving such amazing cars in the same price we were paying for a Corolla or a Honda?
Not very soon.
Oh my God.
That is
It's
because
because if you find a Mercedes in Germany or in any European country, because they are producing it,
producing,
Yeah.
right.
and we do have to pay taxes over these cars. Plus, as a country, right now we need we need revenues, so we cannot get these cars tax-free over here.
But why do we fail to understand? I'm sorry that I'm prolonging it since it's my interest to talk about cars. But see, now this is what I don't get. So all of those diplomats, all of those bureaucrats, they really do not have to pay all of those taxes, and those are the people who drive luxury cars.
Not
So
anymore.
what are we even trying to do over here?
See that,
That's correct, right?
Yeah, it's bureaucrats do pay taxes.
Bureaucrats do, but diplomats
do not. But
Yeah.
the thing is that they are driving a car they are driving a car in a limited space. Like for example, in Islamabad, I'll say they are not allowed to drive the car to the Monal Hills even.
Okay.
They have to take a special permission.
Yeah, yeah.
They can only drive this car in red zone. And definitely when they are going back, they do. Most of the people do take their car back to their own country, or they sell it off
Otherwise,
here.
you wait for the auction and get a good
Yeah,
car.
and when the same car comes in auction, you have to pay the taxes again.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Sarim, for that. And
Thank
ladies
you
and
so
gentlemen,
much.
this was a great conversation. I could not relate
So
at
wanted to
all.
talk more. Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, but we're heading to a short break, and we will be back before you know it with a different segment. Stay tuned. Good morning.
Let's do it.
Welcome back to World This Morning, ladies and gentlemen. For those who just joined in the first segment, we were talking about imported cars and everything, and I don't know how to summarize that anyway. In this segment, we're talking about one of the very important days that we sort of missed out on. So on the 21st of September, we were observing World's Peace Day across the globe. Everyone was doing it. And for this year, what was the theme, Shazad?
All right, so this year, ladies and gentlemen, the theme was the right to peace, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights at 70. So I think that the first question which needs to be posed is that what is Universal Declaration? So obviously, you know, the theme actually goes in line with that. It's the 70th anniversary of the Universal Declaration. So back in 1948, what happened was that a lot of people from different regions of the world, they sat down together from different legal backgrounds and then drafted this declaration where they said that this is what we call peace, or you know, this is how we are actually going to achieve peace as well. But Shiza, okay, that's great, and that, you know, it was adopted by the United Nations too as well, and you know, it was kind of universalized that, you know, these are the peace standards. But now what happened is that in 2015 they came up with Sustainable Development Goals. And once they came up with Sustainable Development Goals, then goal number 16 was peace, justice, and equality. So ladies and gentlemen, whenever we talk about peace, peace does not come you know, it's not that easy. So whenever we talk about peace, we have to talk about economic and social development. And when we talk about economic and social development, you know, we do see that within our own country, we have so many different tiers or segments of society that we really cannot make sure that equality is going to be...
It prevails at every
level.
Or
Probably we're going to achieve this Sustainable Development Goal. So, but for that, to discuss this, that how peace can be achieved, we have actually been joined with some amazing people. They're going to let us know. They're going to shed light on that, you know, how do we actually balance, how do we make sure that there's no inequality, there's no discrimination against minorities, and you stay together. Can that happen? It looks like a dream, and it sounds like a dream too as well. But we'll ask our guests, ladies and gentlemen. On my right-hand side, we've been joined by Professor Zamir Avansa from NUST. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Thank you very much for joining us. And alongside Professor Zamir Avansa, we have been joined by Professor Asif Rasool Saab from NAMAL. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you? Thank you very much for joining us once again. So, sir, first things first, how important do you think it was for every country to observe International Peace Day?
First of all, I will say that it is a right of every human being to have peace. This is our right, and we should struggle for it. Peace is not easy. We have to struggle for it, especially in the current days. For last couple of decades, so many disasters are happening in this world, especially war on terror. There are around 2 million people has been died, and 6 million people has been displaced. Either inside their own country they are refugees, or they have forced to migrate to the west other countries. So under these circumstances, the peace is even more important, especially for Pakistan. We are victim of many disasters, man-made disasters like terrorism, and we know the value of peace, and we have to struggle for it.
Right, absolutely.
Asif, what do you want to say?
Well, it's a very important topic if we just look at this current scenario. And we have got to just start off with this a bit of history in which we see like First World War, where we just lost almost 20 million people. Then World War II, almost 60 million people. But then Western, like this European Union and all that, they just came to this consensus, or they've got this HOT, higher order ranking people. They ultimately came up with this idea that, well, it's not going to work. So in order to achieve peace, we do not have to work for peace. There's a very famous quote, there is no way to the peace, peace is the only way. So in order to develop this peace, basically we have got to, work on different sectors as well. For example, only education is not going to bring it. For example, the problem is we have got limited resources. And there is a, war going on in one way or the other way.
But everybody's got limited resources. There's no one with a bag full of resources which is never going to be emptied. I mean, for example, it's not like Chalis Yar or Umro Yar or something, or Umro Yar ki Zambil. Everybody in life has got limited resources, but within that they have to manage to bring about peace. So, obviously we're talking about a global level over here, but let's come down to our own societies. I mean, let's talk about minorities. I'm sorry, Shazad, that I'm stealing your question.
No, I'll add to it.
Yeah. So let's talk about minorities. We just saw that, if somebody was actually within the economic decision-making process, we saw that, they actually had to take them away
Step
just because
down.
of the fact that people were talking about it. So how do you think that within a society who's very intolerant, we can even achieve peace?
So, but before you do answer, I have to say that I do not agree with Shazad when he said the society is intolerant. At some points, yes, but because I can counter that with some examples. So, some friends of mine were working on a project in Tharparkar, and I was a part of that as well. So there's this very small sort of town there, where the majority is Hindu Sikh community, and there's a very little amount of Muslims living there as well. So just to create harmony in that particular place, I have to say that first of all, Hindus are not minorities there. So there's no, you're expecting for there to be a conflict between them, but there's not. So what the Muslims have done to achieve harmony over there is that they said, okay, we are not going to slaughter cows just because they are sacred to Hindus. So they together are sticking to only probably chicken or whatever, your vegetables. So isn't that good? I mean, other than that, so there's a small Parsi community living in Karachi. And I was watching the BBC interview sort of yesterday about them. And a lot of the people who were interviewing them, they were like, okay, what are the problems that you're facing? Being a minority, what are the issues that you have to face? And none of them had actually anything bad to say. They were like, we don't even feel like minorities.
Yeah.
I mean, that is what we want to achieve, and that is what we're talking about. But then again, you are right, true. I mean, there are some there are some parts of the society, there are some segments who are not probably open to the idea of, creating harmony of having peace.
I think
at
within
that level.
households, it's just Nande, Baue, and Sase who do not want peace, though, as well.
Let me say something.
Yeah, please,
Yeah.
sir.
Pakistan was a very peaceful society,
Yeah.
and there was a harmony in our society to a certain extent. Exceptional cases was always there, but recently there was imposed hybrid war on Pakistan,
Yeah.
and that has spread the hatred, intolerance, extremism, and of course, as a result, some people are suffering.
But sir, how do you think social media is playing a role in maintaining or disturbing peace?
Social media is very much popular and very common among the youth,
Yeah.
and it is playing a very important role. Unfortunately, our media, overall media, is not responsible media.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
For
So,
example,
I think it's going to come down to Shiza because she's over here is studying journalism.
Studied, yes, but sir, please carry on.
overall, our media is not a responsible media. For example, some of the news, let me give you a specific example. Last year, Chinese ambassador was due to arrive in Pakistan.
Yeah.
Just few days before his arrival, news circulated in the media that there is a live threat to Chinese ambassador.
Right.
So what is the message we are giving to the international community?
You do not have to come to us.
I mean,
We'll come ourselves.
This is irresponsible. If
Yeah.
even though, I don't know, but even though in fact there is a threat, we should know. We should let them know the relevant people, law enforcement agencies. There is a mechanism to protect him.
Yes.
Right, absolutely.
Only limited people who are relevant, they should know it.
Okay.
Radio वाले को बता देना, a shopkeeper, street man, everybody know it. Is it
You're
something
sort
good?
of giving way to, conflict.
Yes.
I get that. But Mr. Asif, do you agree with him on how the portrayal or how the, how media is building peace in Pakistan? Do you agree to
Well,
his
as
views?
already Shazad asked us, the social media, it's a double-edged sword. I mean, it works the
Either
other
way.
way.
Yeah.
I've got this Jeremy Gillis story, One Day Peace. I mean, this is a wonderful phenomenon. Like, he is a British documentary filmmaker.
Okay.
He said that I was to just 1991. I was to just make this video on this documentary on peace. But then, surprisingly, just came across this fact that we do not have any proper fixed calendar date on this. So he really started working for this, and through this whole story, we can exactly implement for this current issue and problem as well. So he just he met different, for example, UN representative, then he met different government officials, then he went to these humanitarian agencies, and then Nobel laureates. And after that, he just got this recognition in this UN National Assembly for this one-day peace. And after just getting this recognition, he said that now it's not enough. I have got to develop this awareness as well. And then he started up with this wonderful campaign. And ultimately, he just achieved this specific campaign way back 2007 in Afghanistan, when he just brought all the stakeholders together, even Taliban. And they just promised to observe this one-day peace, where there is not going to be any violence and there's going to be a ceasefire. So now, in this current scenario, if we just talk about our society, we too have got to have such people who are going to develop this kind of vision, and ultimately they are just going to stay fully focused, and then we are just going to have like these proper results, and we can just implement it.
You know, it's great that you said that. So we're talking about intranational, international peace as well. Well, let's talk about interregional peace. Now, I don't know if I should say this, but the thing that I'm going to discuss, I'm sure all of you know, it's sad, it's petty, it's funny, and it's also sort of ironic. So just around Peace Day, our friendly neighbor sort of, shunned our invitation for peaceful dialogues. What do you feel about that? I mean, what are they promoting on regional or international level?
In fact, Pakistan was always promoting the peace.
Open for dialogue,
and
yes.
we have offered India many times, especially the new government, PTI government, after winning the election. In his first maiden speech, he mentioned about the peace with India.
Right, because
So
it's
of course-
imperative to the peace in region, to be
And,
honest.
and we have our history full of peace initiatives, with not only with India. We are the major contributor of peacekeeping force in the United Nations.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So we are always playing positive role for the international peace also, especially within this region. But unfortunately, there are some other elements, and if they don't need peace,
Yeah, and
they
this
don't want
is what I
peace.
want to talk about. Now, for example, everybody has a lot of friends. I'm sure that you might have friends from India too as well, or you might have friends from USA, you might have friends from Afghanistan, Iran, or elsewhere in the world. Why is that when we sit down personally, when it's an interpersonal communication, everything's good, nobody's fighting, it's just peace. But when it comes to on a national level, why do you think that we have so many issues then?
By default, we are the peace-loving people.
Yeah, we are.
But the circumstances are created in this way that there are conflicts between the nations,
Right.
within the societies, within the international societies, communities. But by default, Pakistani people are peace-loving people, by default.
But how do we attain peace in the world? This is something which we are discussing today.
Okay, like,
economic stability, social stability, how do we do that?
What is the fact
It has got like two levels. One is peace within ourselves, and then
Inner
peace
peace.
at this society level and national and international level. So if we do not possess inside us this peace, it's not easy for us to just
Execute
give
it.
away something.
Yeah.
So initially, as a society, if we are going to develop it, then obviously the way you have said, like there's a threat of this surgical strike from India. When the society as a whole, when they can just compel government, and social media is a very, very strong factor to just compel them. The way, I mean, if we just go for that, like you were just mentioning about that one economic guy who was just removed because of the social media. So why can't we just go for these positive aspects as well? So first of all, we have got to develop it within ourselves, and when we are harmony and peace with ourselves inside, obviously we are in the best position to give it to the other people as well. And then as a society, once society is going to develop this specific kind of level, and the people have got a very clear stance, perception and all that, ultimately they are in the best position to change the government system. Right now, perhaps people, they do not have very, as an individual, as Sir has rightly said, that, well, I'm right, I'm peace-loving and all that. But when it comes to government policies and all that, well, they have got their own, like, these very intricate kind of games. Economic games are there. They've got, like, we've got international players. They've got their own agendas. And they're playing the proxy wars and all that. And where we can't even have our say as well.
Right.
So until unless, as a society, we don't develop it, it's difficult.
No, but what the United Nations says is that, equality and justice can be two major factors or can play a very pivotal role in maintaining peace in the region. But how do we bring about equality? I mean,
my question is actually in line with that.
yeah, so look at us, so we have so many different tiers, we have so many different segments within our own society that we do not even sit down on a table with the person who drives our car. Do you think that we'll be able to do such amazing wonders on an international level?
I think that I am little bit elder than you people.
Yeah.
So well, I can tell you in 60s, 70s, even that till 80s,
Things were fine.
thing was very fine.
Yeah.
We were living together with the Sunnis, Shias, Ahl Hadith, Qadianis, Christians, and there was no discrimination.
Yeah.
And we were playing together when we were kids, and there was no discrimination.
Exactly.
But last couple of decades, deliberately, this intolerance and injustice has been promoted.
Right.
Hatred has been spread. Who is responsible for spreading these things? We have to identify, and from the root cause, we have to stop them.
Okay, but sir, also, I feel like that one of the factors, or let's say one of the variables of being in power, is to be strong economically. So some of the major states that we see in the world that are powerful right now, they feel like they do have the right to sort of illegally occupy smaller states and, probably take them under whatever they control they want to.
Exactly.
But why? I mean, we do have organizations like United Nations and others as well on international level, on bigger levels, who are there to monitor all of this, but still there are some states who are exercising their power illegally. I mean, how and when do we expect them to feel responsible as to not create such conflicts in the world? Or are we ever going to see that?
Exactly, this is a very critical question. Until unless we are not going to empower people, and there is only one way to empower people is just to educate them.
Right.
And the moment they're going to get educated, they are just going to get familiar with their own art. They're going to get to know about their rights. So once they know about their rights, they are in the position to start up with these kind of campaigns and movements where they're just going to compel these different stakeholders who are just going to play, whether these are economical or they're people, they've got like hidden agendas, they just come to different countries. For example, oil is one example. And then you got like all these other factors which are really going to help them. The way they're just going to suck the economies and all that, like in the best possible way. So I would suggest that like education is, and it's really going to bring
Not only education, right?
But yes, Shahzad, I'll discuss it in this way. It's education, yes, to some extent you're right. Not to some extent, exactly you're right. When people are only educated and we are not going to provide them with the proper jobs and
Right.
they are going to become the deadliest toll on this planet. Because an uneducated guy, it can't be that much deadly when we just compare it to the educated guy.
Exactly.
Who obviously, when we are going to provide them with the proper job, what's happening in the West, like people are just going to, after completing their
You're telling us
right
that
degrees and all
economic
that.
disparity is a factor too as well.
Okay,
to
so
disturb peace.
so far I feel like that what all of us have established is to establish peace or to maintain peace. Economy, of course, is also justice, equality that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Very quickly, how important or how imperative is military might to peace? Any of you can answer that.
That's a good one.
In fact, in every country, military has their role.
Yeah.
In some countries, little bit more, and in some countries, little bit less. But always there is some role.
Yeah, absolutely.
In Pakistan, there was a campaign to create distance between the military and the civil bureaucracy.
Right, right.
So we have to overcome it. The military has to come forward, the civil bureaucracy have to come forward, and they should be resolve the differences, and they should be on the same page.
Okay, okay.
And that is the only way forward.
Right.
Okay, sir, what about
We've
you?
got to go for this, like when we just see it at this political scenario. I think politicians, they are the ones who have got to go for this policy making and all that. So when
They
they
fight
are
with each other
just
all day
going
long
to
on television, we see
develop
that.
policies and all that, they are just going to make these institutions empowered.
Exactly.
So that they start properly functioning.
Right, right.
Then at every step, we are not going to accept army. Well, there are floods, we call army.
Army,
There are
absolutely.
disasters, we call. And then whenever there's a kind of unrest in the society, we always expect them. So one way or the other way, they have got to come.
Exactly. And empowering institutions is definitely the right thing to do. But other than that, Shiza, just to add on to the information of people who are out there, because we come up with these dialogues against each other so that we can actually let you know what the real facts are.
Yeah.
So
You have a
even
balanced
when
argument.
Shiza asked about military might, the thing is that every force within this world have their own strategy. So
Yeah.
we are on a defensive strategy. We have never ever been on an
Attacking, yeah.
offensive strategy as well, because we are a peace-loving nation, and that's the message which we give out. And ladies and gentlemen, whatever it takes to maintain the peace of the world, Pakistanis will always be there to love you with a lot of hugs.
Yeah, that's
Thank
true.
you very much, sir, for joining us. It
Thank
was
you.
lovely to be in conversation with you.
Towards the end, I feel like, having inner peace, peace inside you, is very important imperative to maintaining peace and promoting peace outside.
Yeah.
Yes,
So if you
absolutely.
haven't seen Kung Fu Panda, go ahead
Go
and
watch
do
it.
that, because it's quite a lot about inner peace as well. But do write to us on our Facebook fan page, which is with the name of
Well This Morning.
on Twitter,
Well This Morning without a G.
on Daily Motion and YouTube.
Well This Morning.
And the fabulous repeat's going to be at
11 in the night.
till the next time. Look after yourselves. 1, 2, 3.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.